We actually had 2 shiurim already this Friday. This Friday was Os Chanukah, and Hashem gave us 2 shmuzim already. But the shmuzim were in Portuguese. They're in Portuguese. Or another foreign language that we don't understand. I know my wife, her family, they speak Portuguese, and sometimes we have girls over speaking Portuguese. And when people are speaking Portuguese, if you don't know the language, you get a lot of understanding from the way they speak and their intonations. If you don't know the language, you don't understand what's being said. So Hashem gave us 2 shir klolis this Friday, but we don't know Portuguese or maybe a different language. So I'm coming to reflect based on my conversations with 4 Anashim Gedolim to try to get a little bit of understanding of these shirim that Hashem gave. So I'm sure you're all heard by now that on Friday, 3 of the hostages were under civilian captivity. They were able to get to the roof of one of the buildings. They were waving a white flag, and they were shot by IDF soldiers. That was one shmuz. The second shmuz was Friday night, as we were coming into Shabbos, leaving Hanukkah and coming into Shabbos. The siren went off, and I was Baira of my Rebbe of Shlomo Safrani. He started to speak. He said, "Mikate, 2 years, at the end of 2 years," he said, "You should know every single thing that Hashem does with a cheshbon." Right? After exactly 2 years, Yosef HaTzadik got out of jail. We know the Brisker Rav says, "Asher Gever Asher Yiftach Hashem." Yosef added a few words. He got 2 years extra. Every single thing that Hashem does is calculated to the, tiniest point. And then the siren went off. And we all went down to the bomb shelter. And that missile that was sent, it's for sure talking to us. Yeah. But again, the missile speaking Portuguese, we have to understand what it's saying. The other instance with the hostages, also, it's talking to us, right? If we can kill our own people, and the Torah tells us that when we're doing Ritzon Hashem, then we'll go to war and nobody will die. Not only that, Chazal tells us in Midrash Sifri that in the times of, I believe the times of Achav, that there was Avodah Zarah. There was Avodah Zarah, but Klal Yisrael was not speaking Lashon Hara. Sinas Chinam was on a low, Baruch Hashem, and people didn't die in Milchama. So if these things are happening, if bombs are falling, if our own people are dying, we have to get to the Omek HaDvarim and try to understand what Hashem is saying, right? Right? Hashem's thoughts are infinitely deep. Hashem's thoughts are infinitely deep, but the Chachamim can give us like a little bit of a ray of light to help us to try to understand. So right after that Ma'ariv, I went to my Rashiva, one of my Yeshivas, Moshe Meiselman, and I asked him, what's going on here? I hadn't seen him in quite a while. And I asked him, what's going on here? How can we understand the world affairs over here? How can we understand what just happened here on Shabbos? So I remember when I was a Bacher, I went to a certain yeshiva where Limudei Chol is quite important in that yeshiva. And not just important because of getting a profession, but important intrinsically. They should learn Limudei Chol in order to be secular studies, become more shleimus. I know Meir Shiva, he has an MIT, he has a doctorate in abstract mathematics from MIT. And I asked him, what does the Rosh Shiva think about this idea of learning Limudei Chol? So he banged on the table. He's 3 times. He said, you learn Torah, you go to Mahaba, Bezel. That's what he told me. And that was the end of that conversation. Anyway, quite clear. So if there's one person who has tremendous clarity, tremendous truth, I think he's the most yasha person I know on planet Earth, right? So Moshe Weizman, Rashiva and Torah Moshe. So I asked him, what's going on? Because he told me he listens to every single news station. He's a Rosh Shiva. He has an achrayas for 200 Bachram. He has to know what's going on. Is it safe to keep them here or not safe to keep them here? So he told me as follows. He told me from the Netziv, which I think is his family, great-great-great-grandfather, from the Netziv, that there's a steer in Chazal. On one hand, Chazal tell us, by Chorban Bayis Rishon, Alma of the Oretz, Alo Berchu B'Torah Tchila. Torah learning was not strong enough. On the other hand, there's another Chazal that tells us, Gemara and Yuma, right? The first Gemara is Gemara in Nedarim, Gemara and Yuma, right? Why was the first base of Mikdash destroyed? Because Gil Raya Shvichas Dam Vadazar. So it's a steer, right? It was destroyed because of a lack of Torah. It was destroyed because of Gil Raya Shvichas Dam Vadazar. Says the Nesiv like this. He said, Torah is a koach adir. It's an incredible power. It's hard for us to even fathom, like, the incredible power that it has. Yeah, it's not hard for us. It's impossible for us. We can maybe get a little tiny drop of understanding. But says the Netziv like this, that for sure they were doing Avodah Zarah, Gilui Shvichas Damim. These are bad things. Don't try them at home. Don't Avodah Zarah, Gilui Shvichas Damim. But L'maisa, when a person is learning Torah and really learning Torah, right? Learning Torah to want to get to the truth, what Hashem really wants, they have a strong Yetzer Hara, right? The Gemara says if we know what the Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah was, right, then we would pick up our coattails and run, and that was in times of the Gemara, right? So imagine us if the Yetzer Hara Baruch Hashem was eliminated, but the koyach of Torah could overpower that. Even when Klal Yisrael are steeped in Avodah Zarah, Gilui Raya Shvichas Damim, Torah could overpower that. Yeah. So, but as an Netziv, it can overpower Sinas Chinam. Yeah. It can't overpower Sinas Chinam, right? There was Torah in Bayis Sheni, but Sinas Chinam, it can't overpower. And just the opposite, we said, when there's no Sinas Chinam, then we're protected from death. So, L'maisa, but that's the koach gadol of a Torah. L'maisa, we know, Merosh Kol used to always say the Yevanim won. The Yevanim won, right? Hanukkah, it was because of Islashos, the Bach Sev, it was because of weakening of Torah. And on Hanukkah, unfortunately, the weakening of Torah, Rav Scheinberg used to paskin that don't go home for Chadlaka. Stay till the end of Seder, get your wife to light for you, and go home, then light the menorah, right? That psak wasn't escapable in all Meshivas. People go home. Once you go home, very hard to come back, right? But L'maisa, there's definitely a weakening of Torah, right? Instead of Moshe Meiselman, it's Pashatim, and we didn't even know at the time about the killing of these three hostages. But it's Pashatim when you don't have the koach of Torah, or when the koach of Torah is weakened, right? When the koach of Torah is weakened, so then the shmira of Torah is going to be weakened, and there's not going to be as much shmira. We haven't heard sirens in Yerushalayim since October 7th, yeah, I believe, since the massacre took place on Simchas Torah, right? But on Zois Chanukah, you know, when I went to Hebron for Tadav and Shachris on Friday, and Zois Chanukah, that's Chanukah. But Chanukah is all about Torah and Chizuk and Torah, coming to Torah. We have to know that's reality. That's reality, okay? You have to enjoy Chanukah. The Rambam says, you may simcha v'halal. It's a time of simcha. We have to know, we have to understand that. Definitely going forward, the power that Torah has for our defense. I remember when one of the first terrorist attacks took place. It was 31 years ago. I was Avreich. I just got married. I was learning by Rav Tzvi. It was right near the Tachan Har Kaziv. An Arab blew himself up. And Rav Tzvi spoke at the time. He quoted a Medrash Chazal. Chazal say there was a certain Tan, I believe. Eliyahu Navi used to come to him every day. One day someone was killed within a mile. It says a mile of him, or however much that is in Lashon of Chazal. And Eliyahu didn't come to him. He said, because your Torah, if it was stronger, it would have protected him. If your Torah was kamosha tzarich, like it's supposed to be, it would have protected. I often say over the Lashon of the Zohar, I saw it a number of years ago, the Zohar says, Ein somach al hanes, but when two people are learning Torah, you could be somach al hanes. Yeah? I know personally there's a Rosh Yeshiva. He was in Bnei Brak. Now he moved his yeshiva to Ramot to Sheish, right? Rav Naftali Elzas. He told me he was in a car with three other Rosh Yeshivas. They were talking and learning, and I don't know, they hit a skid. They went off the side of a cliff. They smashed onto the ground. I don't know, it was quite a hard fall. And they all just got out of the car and brushed themselves off. And the car got smashed. But Maisa, Torah has an incredible power of protection. And we have to realize that. We are here, we don't have bullets here, Baruch Hashem, and Hashem should keep it that way. You should just know that in the northern border, Hezbollah has 50,000 missiles pointed at Israel, and they're kind of itching to shoot them. The Hezbollah missiles are much, much more accurate, stronger, sophisticated than the Hamas missiles. And what's going to stop them? Yeah, I remember of Elchanan Fishman, the Mashgiach in Torah Moshe, to say, he says, "Eile b'rechev, eile b'susim, v'nachal b'shem Elokeinu naskir." Right? He said those missiles are like a pea shooter. And you guys remember from elementary school pea shooters? Probably before your time, they were already using plastic, guns. But there's such a thing as a pea shooter. You get like a little tube, and you put a pea in it and go, and usually don't kill people with pea shooters. David HaMelech had an ace; he killed Goliath with a little stone. But he said they're pea shooters. Those missiles, the 50,000 missiles on the Lebanese border, they're all pea shooters, because what makes them shoot is Shem Hashem. The Shem Hashem is so much more powerful than all of the missiles of the whole world put together. So we have to really understand that and know that our real protection, the front line, really is right here in the Beis Medrash. At the same time, we have to really value, be makar tov, appreciate and feel for all the people whose lives are in danger. They're losing family, they're losing children, they're losing, every day soldiers are killed. We have to really, we have to make a full chizuk here. In Beinam L'Makam, in Tira, and which is also the Gra says Beinam L'Atzmo, in Beinam L'Chavera, to really feel for the people who are putting their lives on the line to fight the war. Everyone agrees we have to fight a war. Everyone agrees. You can't let the enemy shoot missiles at you and just, twiddle your thumbs and learn. Although Rav Kushalevsky did tell me, he said, if we were on the Ma'at Madrega, we could. On the Ma'at Madrega, we could. Very interesting Medrash Chazal, as the Gemara actually says. It says, David HaMelech was very high level of bitachon. He fought the war. He fought a war. He fought wars. Why? Because he understood it wasn't from him. He said nothing he did was from him, everything was from Hashem. Right? Chizkiyahu was on a lesser darg of bitachon. So he just laid in bed and davened, and 300,000 people died. Yeah, and so we are on such a low level of bitachon. We have to go fight a war because we're not on the level of bitachon of Chizkiyahu, and we're not on the level of David HaMelech. But our job right now is, number one, strengthen our Torah. Number two, strengthen our Beinam L'Chavero, Sinas Chinam. Rebbe used to always say, Sinas Chinam. If you don't say hello to the person next to you in shul, that's Sinas Chinam. If you could, this morning I was coming here to the call, and about 5 people said hello to me. And on Shabbos I said hello to somebody. I really smiled, and the guy for a little, he looked really nervous, maybe I'm from Hezbollah or something. And then he realized I was being friendly. So Baruch Hashem. But this is really Sinas Chinam is not just about wanting to kill somebody or hurt them or say bad things about them. It goes much, much deeper. I heard a shir this morning from someone, I haven't done it myself. I was listening to a shir that I gave right before Tisha B'Av, and I'm shocked at how good the shir was. It has nothing to do with me. It's just siyata d'shmaya. But the shir was all about Sinas Chinam, and it's called Chinam because it's nothing. Says Rabbi Yonash Abish, we don't know what it is. It's so deeply ingrained in ourselves that we don't even recognize it. And that's the Chinam Shabbat, right? The Gra says, Tov Erech Apayim Gibor Moshe Barucho Kolokadir. Says the Gra, what does it mean, Moshe Barucho Kolokadir? He says, when you make a siege of a city, often the enemy will dress up like you in your uniform, because that's a good tactic, right? This is why they killed the hostages, because they thought they looked like Arabs, right? So he dressed up. He says, that's what the Yetzer Hara does. He dresses up. He says, look, this person hurt you. You have to stand up for your principles, whatever garbage you might tell you, right? So that's Moshe Barucho Kolokadir. He says, somebody who can control his heart and not feel Sinas Chinam, so that person is greater than someone under siege, because the enemy looks like you. The enemy looks exactly like you, as your glasses, your hat, your tie, your jacket, right? Okay, he might not have your tzitzis because it's the Skol Chatuma, but they're under your shirt anyway, right? Does he wear tchelis or not tchelis? That's a good shaila. But the point is that on all fronts, we're fighting war on all fronts. Teira, Sinas Chinam, Bitachon, Yerushalayim, all these areas we really have to strengthen ourselves now. And we have to really appreciate what's going on. And that was a shmuz. It was in Portuguese, right? Or you could say Chinese, whatever you want, right? Someone just told me Chinese are not allowed to work in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is part of Palestine. There's a Kabbalan that I have a close relationship with. I said, what's happening with your building? He said, maybe get Chinese people. Chinese people are not allowed to work in Jerusalem because that's part of Palestine. It's occupied territory. So, okay, Chinese. So maybe it could be the Chinese. Hashem spoke to us on Friday, so it's Hanukkah, 2 very powerful messages. Number 1 was the death of these 3 hostages, and number 2 was the missile, and they're both saying the same thing. Yeah? They're both saying the same thing. The guy next to me in Shul said, we have to do tshuva. We have to mischazik. Baruch Hashem, we're doing amazing. Klal Yisrael is doing amazing. We have to realize that. But, what did they say? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. It's the people who are the par excellence. Those are the people we have to speak to. And to be even better, right? To get to a point where Chazal tell us, Eilan Elishan Avinu Shemaim. We get to a point where we realize everything's coming from Hashem, everything's coming from the Borei Olam. That's why Rav Sternbach keeps saying that over and over again. The goal right now is to come to a clarity that everything is from the Borei Olam. Everything. All the war and everything that happened to us is completely from the Borei Olam. And this is what we really need to work on. And Torah will get us there. Yeah? If a person learns Torah properly, yeah? If Torah has a shpah on a person, it could change a person. Torah, the more you try to learn Torah Lishma, the more it will be mashpia on your neshama and really have an effect on you, right? Really have an effect on you. So this is the call. I remember, I'll conclude with that. When we had the massacre in Har Nof, so Rav Sternbach said that if you don't hear what Hashem is saying, then it's going to get worse. Rachmana litzlan. Yeah? He said, Sheba kechatosechem. In the Tochacha it says, Sheba kechatosechem. Hashem speaks to us. Hashem sends us messages. And if we hear them, then Bezrat Hashem will have Yeshua. But if we don't hear them, Sheba kechatosechem. It could be Chas v'Shalom 7 times worse. Sternbach said by the last war in Gaza, when the missiles were falling, maybe it wasn't the last war in Gaza, by Matzechet Oferet, yeah, he said every missile that falls and doesn't hurt people is a sheer klai from Hashem. It's a sheer klai from Hashem. Hashem is doing open miracles for us. As far as I understand, nobody has died yet from missiles. There's been serious injuries. No one has died yet, except I think 1 Arab was killed. Yeah, and that is an open miracle. We are obligated to raise our level of emunah, see HaKadosh Baruch Hu more clear in our life, and to take that recognition, translate into Torah, translate into Beinam L'Chavero, translate into Yerusha Shamayim. We should all be zeichet to do this, and we should all have the koyach and the inspiration and the heart, right? And especially feeling for other people, right? Feeling for other people. I've spoken to so many people the last few days who have children who either hurt or they're suffering or who are nifter. So many people are in so much pain now, right? Just because we're not technically on the front line where bullets are flying, we have to really, really feel for these many, many individuals in Klal Yisrael who are suffering so much and not be an achzar. Achzar means a strange brother, achzar. Achzar, we can't be achzar. To or our heart, to feel for all these people and to understand what they're going through and put in our part, right? And it's a very important part, right? It's, right? You need the soldiers fighting, yeah? That's Torah Sishtalis, but what gives them the koach of nitzachon, right? They say, they have this phrase, the Israelis, right? We won't stop until we have nitzachon. Okay, look, maybe yes, maybe no, who knows? Yeah, but what will give us the koach of real nitzachon, yeah, for ourselves and Bezrat Hashem, for Klal Yisrael, is koach hatira. So as much as we can to understand what's going on here, understand what we're doing, and Hashem should give us the Yad Shemaya that it should end quickly, and we should see Gula Shlema B'Karav Amen Kain Teretzon.